This past weekend, Port Priority 8 went down in Seattle, and it was the most stacked and most important tournament in perhaps Ultimate history. And while we've covered the top 8 at length in yesterday's video, as usual for these last few majors, the most interesting part of the tournament wasn't really the top 8 at all, but rather the multitude of upsets and crazy runs that went down in top 128 and top 32. Today we'll be going over all of that craziness, going over every notable upset at Port Priority 8. Just like the last upset video we made, we'll be separating this video into a few sections, but this time we'll be starting with upsets made in pools in top 128, then moving into upsets made in top 32, and lastly going over upset runs that resulted in someone making top 8. Also worth mentioning is that I'm not going to restrict myself to a certain upset factor, instead I'm just going to go over the most important ones. Also, just want to let you all know that the upset thread I'll be referencing and using screenshots from comes courtesy of my head TO and noted Twitter warrior, Booker. Link to his thread, and therefore his Twitter, is in the description below. Just a reminder before we begin that if you want to support me monetarily, you can do so by using the links to my Patreon and channel memberships in the description below. By the way, I've been seeing some people in the comments on my videos unfamiliar with some of the common terminology that I use. Notably for today's video, I'm going to be using the term upset factor quite a lot. So for those of you who don't know, an upset factor describes how far the loser of the upset was expected to go in bracket. So, for example, if RisterMice defeats Akola in an upset factor 5 win, that means that Akola was expected to move on 5 more rounds after this set, but didn't because RisterMice upset him, whoever that is. With that out of the way, let's get into the upsets. First off is the tragedy of Ludo, the Mario main who was the 64th seed. In pools, Ludo would lose to Rob main and 193rd seed Bob the Dustclops in a 3-0 upset factor 4 loss, where Ludo would drop into losers and unfortunately be upset again by another Rob main, the 129th seed Dominique in a 3-1. This was an upset factor 3 loss, and it resulted in Ludo being eliminated from bracket at 129th as the 64th seed after being double eliminated by Rob, a fate I wouldn't wish upon anyone. Our next upset is courtesy of Xavier the Wii Fit, who was the 88th seed, who managed to defeat Peebnut, the 41st seed, in a close Game 5 nail-biter set.
Should have been game. This game has become absolutely insane. I don't know how we got this last stock, last hit situation. Woo! 222 left to the drop. That's going to be it now. Man! There he goes. Xavier with the 3-2 win over Peebnut and jumps into the arms.
Our next tragedy is that of Jared is King 1, the 58th seed, who lost in winners to AC, the 71st seed. Snake Shulk is a matchup that has been detested by Shulk mains and probably will be hated for a very long time. After this, Jared is King 1 dropped into losers and got upset again by PK Chris, the 82nd seed, 3-1, which eliminated Jared at 65th as the 58th seed. Our next pair of upsets comes courtesy of Rocky Balboa, Kansas City's very own, who came into the event as the 74th seed. Rocky, in winners, defeated Atomic, the 55th seed, 3-0, before getting another upset later on in the tournament, defeating Quick, the German Samus and 42nd seed, in a close Game 5 set, which ended Quick's run at 49th. H4, the Pikachu and 50th seed, had a rough tournament, first losing 3-2 to No Tag, the 79th seed, before next losing to RM8, the 138th seed, in another Game 5, an upset factor 4 loss that eliminated H4 at 97th. PK Chris, the 82nd seed, who we mentioned earlier, managed to get an upset over Goblin, the 47th seed, in a Game 5 set. After dropping into losers, Goblin would lose to AC Game 5 for 65th. Samuel, Steve Main, and TO for Battle of BC, as well as the 106th seed, managed to defeat Colorado 8, the 87th seed, in a Game 5 set, which ended up eliminating Colorado 8 at 129th. Next up is Edog, the 91st seed, who managed to defeat Base Mage, the 38th seed, in a 3-0 victory.
You can see, I think that was some SDI up there where Base Mage was able to pop out, but the back air closing it out anyway. And Edog 3-0 over Base Mage. Even forced out the counter pick Fox, it didn't matter.
Next up is Ven, the 83rd seed, who defeated Send, the 46th, in a 3-1. Skinny the Pooh, the 76th seed, is a player famous for upsetting MKLeo, who upset some more players at Port Priority 8, defeating Peanut, the 53rd seed, in a 3-1. Silver is a player, coach, and the 77th seed, who defeated Kronos, the 52nd seed, in a 3-0. Now moving into top 128 upsets, we first have Widara, a Bowser Jr. who was the 186th seed, who defeated Atada, the 63rd seed, in an upset factor 3 win that eliminated Atada at 97th place. SkyJ, the 24th seed, managed to defeat Riddles, the 9th, in a close Game 5 set, an upset factor 3 victory.
Riddles is down an entire stock. SkyJ still carrying on this momentum, getting another conversion, already 60%. Gets the down air to end the set. SkyJ ending it with style here at Port Priority 8.
Just an unstoppable freight train. SkyJ is unbelievable with this character.
Kiarash, the 73rd seed, went on an insane run at Port 8, first upsetting Peanut 3-1, eliminating the 41st seed at 49th, before next defeating Zomba, the 8th seed, 3-1, an upset factor 7 win that eliminated Zomba at 33rd. But that actually wasn't the biggest upset yet, as our very next upset is courtesy of Beast Mode Paul, the 61st seed, who defeated Gluttony, the 4th seed, in a 3-1, an upset factor 8 victory. This is where the upset thread I'm referencing actually ends, but there are still some big upsets in Top 32 to cover. Our first one is actually from Beast Mode Paul, who defeated Siski 3-0 in Losers Round 1 of Top 32, which is actually joined by such upsets as Mutas defeating MKLeo 3-0, Riddles defeating Spargo 3-1, T defeating Gluttony 3-0, Lima defeating Debuzz 3-0, as well as Anathema's impressive run, defeating Karama and SkyJ, both in 3-0s. And now, to wrap up today's video, we'll go over the upset runs that resulted in top 8 finishes. First up is Umeki, who defeated Zomba in a phenomenal Game 5 upset victory, as well as defeating SkyJ in another Game 5 and Hurt in a 3-1 to make top 8.
Oh, and this back air could do it. Goes for the side B. It's still not going to connect here. Umeki, again, getting another great hit, but you need something way harder for Rob. Maybe the back air at ledge roll. It's enough. Umeki takes it. He moves on to the winner's side.
And he is all over the stage because that was clutch at its finest. Had to fight back against Zomba's counter pick.
Does not catch the ledge roll, but another hit connects. Directional air dodge. Gonna have a double jump available here. Goes for the Toad! And the Toad is enough. Umeki saves it. Game 5, last stock, last hit, had it in his back pocket, but he knew he needed it to close out the set. And because Incineroar was sent so far off stage,
we also have Kanan AB, who is definitely the Web JP of Port Priority 8, having some of the most hyped VODs of the entire tournament. Unlike Web JP though, Kanan AB's run actually resulted in a top 8 finish. Kanan AB had an insane run, defeating Tweak and Leo in Game 5s before defeating Pocket in Losers 3-1 to make top 8.
Okay, monkey flip. Gonna go for the high option. Another nair. These are unsafe options in here if you're playing bots. There!
Oh, it's over!
Kanan AB! Whoa! Whoa!
Or like platform drop down air, but I mean it worked out. Is that it? She calls out the double jump from the down air. Kanan AB knew the up smash was not true, didn't have a tech chase scenario, and knew Leo wanted to disengage. What a clutch way to end the set!
Wow!
Rounding out our Japanese players, we have Ken, who defeated Karama 3-1, and most notably Spargo in a Game 5 set, an insane win that can't be overstated in its significance. Ken also defeated Kanan AB 3-0, which wasn't an upset, but I mention it anyways because it's Ken's only set outside of top 8 that was streamed, which is unfortunate that the Spargo set wasn't streamed, but also, I get it, you know?
By little in the sea of hits that Ken is providing here, skirmish after skirmish. The Sonic player is running away with the victory! Good Lord, good fair here to get his stage control. Is he going to be, there we go again, a good sense of deja vu, catching the recovery of Kanan AB with an F smash here, and Ken will win that set.
And the last player that we're covering today is Mutas, who defeated Apollo Kage Game 5, which wasn't an upset, but still notable, before getting 2 upsets in a row, defeating MKLeo 3-0 and Riddles 3-1, lastly defeating Cola 3-1 to make top 8. And yeah, no VODs for this one. Why did I pick the player with no VODs for last? I don't know. But that wraps up today's video. Port Priority 8 was the largest, most stacked, and most important tournament of the year, if not Ultimate's lifespan. And oh boy, did chaos follow this tournament. The many upsets and insane runs from players like Umeki and Kanan AB allowed Port 8 to be a very enjoyable experience for many, despite the winner's side top 8 consisting of some characters that are less than popular. Just looking at the caliber of players getting 9ths and 12ths and 17ths should show you just how stacked this tournament was. And honestly, I think this tournament had all we could have asked for. Thank you, Port Priority, for giving us quite the banger to go down in the books forever. That's going to be it for today's video. Again, shout out to Booker for the upset thread that I used for the majority of today's video. Before I go, shout out to my patrons Seth Lasser and FireSkull333, as well as my tier 2 patrons Iltis and Diamond Blaze. Additionally, shout out my YouTube members Stormtrooper, Locosoko, Mattoon, Diarrhea, DTR Jr., Defective, Neo, and my tier 2 members Mike G and Wu-Tang Forever. Tomorrow I'll be covering Blink Respawn 2023, but until then, I've been RisterMice, and thank you all so much for watching.